Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Delighted to have your company Monday to Friday, live at 4 o'clock, or you can watch it at your leisure. You can also watch it on your phone as well. If you download the PLZ Soccer app, we'll get you all the breaking stories across the UK, European football and world football as well. And if you want to watch the show, you can. You just click on the Football Show on the app and Bob's your uncle. We're there. So lots to talk about, lots to look back over the weekend in the Scottish Premiership and the English Premier League in the company of Alan Ruff, Hugh McDonald and Tam McManus. Usually on a Monday, Ruffy, we have Alison McConnell here. She's usually at the top of the Predictor League at the moment, but when you get 0 points, it's time to change your day, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure she must be panicking there. Yeah. I mean, that's the couple of bad weeks she's had. I know she's up there, but...
There's only 53 points ahead of you.
And she's decided because she's got 0 points to bring in another guy who's got 0 points to substitute for her.
We laughed heartily at Ruffy last week thinking, who gets 0 points in the Predictor? But for Rangers' victory yesterday, I would have had 0 points as well.
I've still got a lifeline. I'm saying I'm not got 0 points yet because I've still got Ross County and Hibs to come.
Yeah, which might get you the 2 points, but it was a bad weekend for predictions, Tam, wasn't it?
It was. I had a shocker and all, but I actually made up ground on a few people, so I was happy. 4 points I got.
Yeah, it wasn't the best, but nevertheless, we'll go back over the games and look at that predictor table very shortly. Some news breaking through, just sticking with yourself, Tam, on this. I mean, Hibs, it didn't go ahead at the weekend, and the rearranged game on Wednesday, it looks as if Hibs could be without 10 players, so under real pressure for this one.
Yeah, it all depends on who the players are. You know, what I'm hearing is I think Hibs will still be able to field a reasonably strong side, so it'll be interesting to see what players they play, but I think the Hibs supporters will be quite happy to play a few young boys because they've been screaming for them the last few weeks. Hibs are 4 games, 4 defeats in a row, not playing well, and players are not pulling their weight, so it might just be a case of throw a couple of young boys in. I don't think there's any pressure doing this way because they've got to play them. It's not as if they're putting them in. There's no pressure on the young boys if they go in and play. If they don't play, they'll be in the next game. So if they don't play well, but I think Hibs will be still confident up there and getting a win.
Yeah, I think Malky will be absolutely delighted because you know
Malky's in a good position as well because he's he's coming off a good result. He's coming off a bit of momentum. He's coming off things might be turning around. He's been talking all the time about how good his wide players are, and once they get started and once they get a result in the bag. So yeah, he'll be looking forward to the game. Yeah. I just think as well with the Hibs, I think the Hibs collapse, and I think it's strong enough to say. It's not too strong enough to say. Would you put that down to time? What do you think's gone wrong there? Is it just?
Well, since Ryan Porteous gets sent off, Hibs were 1-0 up at Ibrox and poised to go top of the league. Mm-hmm. And Ryan Porteous has been sent off, and they've scored 1 goal and they've not won a game since that moment. So it's been it has been a collapse, in the games. But what I would say is they've had a reasonably hard run of games. They've had Celtic and Rangers, Aberdeen and Dundee United. So Ross County away from home is an opportunity. You need to go up there and stop the rot. They can't get beat again. Yeah.
There's other news that I want to get your thoughts on, guys. On a daily basis, Ruffy, we always have to talk about what I call the negativity and the lunacy of Scottish football, which is possibly why we can't attract top-line sponsors to come into our game and adopt a really aggressive, glossy approach to trying to promote our game. And this is one of the reasons. So Rangers fans are going to be locked out of the Old Firm clash on January the 2nd. Of course, Celtic had 700 tickets cancelled for the one at Ibrox, and Celtic now look as if they're going to follow suit on this one. I think they're quite open to trying to talk to each other about maybe getting the 7,000 or 8,000 fans back as the away support, but that's a long way away. So this is what we're faced with. There'll be no Rangers fans at the January 2nd match.
No, I think when it happened at Ibrox, we all hoped that somebody would get round the table and get something sorted out, but this one's a tit for tat. Obviously the Celtic fans who never got to Ibrox wouldn't have something to say if there was Rangers fans in. So somebody's got to stand up and be counted and make a decision because we all want fans back in. We've seen the games that the fans are in up at Aberdeen. There was a great atmosphere. Dundee United, there's a fantastic atmosphere in Tannadice when it's practically full. So let's hope somebody shows a bit of wisdom and forthright and just get it sorted out and get us back to where we were.
Yeah, Rangers have revealed plans for Walter Smith tribute. And of course, the private funeral is November 3rd. The cortege will pass by Ibrox Stadium around 3:15 so that the fans can say their goodbyes to Rangers' legendary manager. And of course, I know a lot of Dundee United fans hold Walter close to their heart as well, and there will be a number of clubs, including Everton, Dumbarton, Manchester United. I think there'll be all sorts of representatives there to talk about Walter and look back on their recollections of him and the memories of him as well. But the Rangers fans, more importantly, will be showing their appreciation of the great man on November 3rd. And there's also going to be a memorial service which will take place on the 19th of November at Glasgow Cathedral. That's an invite-only basis, but I reckon that's going to be one of those days. You've been involved in it, I've been involved in some memorial services where people who are really close to Walter, and I'm automatically thinking of Ali McCoist and Sir Alex, they'll get up there and just reflect on the great man. Yeah,
and there's so many. He's such a man of substance. There's so many great stories, and you see them dripping out now just in social media. You know, people talking about, you know, being sort of at the depths, and Walter coming up and giving them a grand for a suit and a shirt and things like that. And you know, there's little stories coming out, but the real big stories. I mean, Alec Ferguson, for example, could write a book about Walter. I mean, they were very, very close, and they spent a lot of time together, and they knew each other so well. And Ali, of course, Ali, you know, his tribute, you know, when he was talking about him as a second father, I thought that was very moving because it was so sincere and it was so exact, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we will cover that for you on the programme when it comes around. As for Walter Smith's Old Side Rangers, well, here's how Rangers results actually fared among the other Scottish Premiership results over the weekend. It was Aberdeen 2, Hearts 1, Celtic and Livingston 0-0. Dundee United defeated by a goal to nil from St Johnstone. Ross County Hibs, as we just had a chat about, it was postponed due to the COVID outbreak in the Hibs side. Dundee managed a 1-0 win over St Mirren. We were well aware of that early on because the texts were flying in from Charlie Adams saying, "I told you so." And then it was Motherwell 1, Rangers 6. They hammered them and were really effective. Even before O'Donnell was sent off, Rangers were in command.
Yeah, I agree with you. The second half, but I'm sure it was 4 minutes before half time. That game was in the balance. You know, obviously with Motherwell scoring first, but Rangers came back really strong. A fantastic goal for Tavernier. You know, if you get a chance to see it again, nobody bothers with him. Nobody bothers to pick him up. They just leave a big space for him to maraud into that area, and what a fantastic finish it was.
Well, if I could add the compliment to that, Tam, at the weekend, I watched Ronaldo's goal for Manchester United against Tottenham, and the technique of he's looking and thinking, I'm going to concentrate on the ball. I don't care if the man is possibly going to header this. I'm just keeping my eye on the ball, and his technique, and he goes through it, and it's in the back of the net. Tavernier, similar. You could see him watch the ball and his technique. It was absolutely superb. And I thought he had a great game because he was at the heart of creating another goal for Rangers as well.
Yeah, I think he's a top player. I honestly think he's a very, very good player. I know a lot of people talk about the things he can't do defensively and whatever, but for me, I'd rather talk about the things he can do. And his quality on the ball is outstanding. You know, not only the finish, which was a great goal, his cross in for Sakala's second goal, he puts it right on his head. You know, in between two centre-backs, I think he's fantastic. I was reading a stat that he's scored something like 67 goals for Rangers from right back. You know, it's a fantastic record for a right back. And last season we thought he was going to get 20, 25 goals. You know, I think he was 16 or 17 at Christmas. So yeah, he's a great weapon for Rangers at right back. He's obviously got a young Patterson breathing down his neck. So that's only going to inspire him because he knows he can't afford to drop his levels because he's got a top-class young player waiting to step in. Yeah,
it was a great goal. This is what Steven Gerrard had to say about the performance. I think that's been coming. It's almost been in the post. We've been waiting for that performance for some time. It was back to our identity. I thought we were an inch away from being perfect today. All round we were superb. Fashion Sakala's been waiting to do that. He's shown glimpses, he's shown flashes, and he's delivered for his team today. And of course, always nice when you get your first hat-trick, you get to keep the ball, Ruffy.
Yeah, and I thought he took his goals well. I thought the header in particular, you know, for he doesn't look a big guy. He really got off the air and bullied it into the back of the net. But I think the Rangers manager must have been listening to us last week saying, you need to get McGregor back, you need to get Davis back, you need to get Kamara back. And when they three come on the park, Davis in particular just controlled the game from start to finish. And we always say, oh, so he just 10, 15-yard passes he makes, but he brings the whole team alive with everything he does, and he was an architect in most of the Rangers goals the weekend.
Yeah. No excuses from the Motherwell manager on this defeat.
You don't want to concede 6 goals against anybody, so you know, that's really difficult. But I thought for 42 minutes our performance was excellent, and the game went according to our plan. The 2 goals just before half time have turned that on its head a little bit, and then obviously I think the big moments are the 2 goals just before half time, the 3-minute spell, and then the red card, and the game's, you know, taken away from us.
No arguments with the red card for O'Donnell, Hugh?
No, not for me, no. I thought that, you know, Motherwell's big problem on Saturday was, you know, we kind of talked about it before the show, was when they went 1-0 up, you know, they could have, then they were in a slot, then they were in a position to do something about the game. But after that, the game just completely ran out and just careered away from them.
Yeah, good win for Rangers, good 3 points. Look as if they're slowly but surely getting back to it. The win against Brøndby is good. Now they've got a chance to go away from home in the Europa League this week, Tam, and build on this.
No, I thought Rangers were right back at their best on Sunday. It's the best I've seen them all season. I've no doubt that the result the day before has given them a massive boost. You know, they've went out there and they've seen Celtic dropping points when they had the opportunity to go top, and Rangers have stuck the knife in and went, here, there you go, and they've battered Motherwell, and they've sent a message out to Celtic that we're still top and we're still the team to beat, and emphatically 6-1. You know, the goal difference goes right up as well. They get that 4-point gap again. So I thought Rangers were really, really good on Sunday. Yeah,
we'll be talking to Andrew Shiney very shortly, our man in the northeast. I think he might be. I don't know if there's an open top bus celebration, you know, for the second week in a row, Ruffy. But we'll be speaking to him. He's on a high now.
Yeah, I think he's been out and bought his fireworks early. You know, probably was setting them off in the back garden. You know, two good results. That's a bring Guy Fawkes early in Aberdeen.
We'll be able to hear over the rustling of sweetie papers.
Yeah. Well, to be perfectly honest with you, as with many Aberdonians, the fireworks could be let off at one end of the garden and it probably wouldn't hit the other end of the garden. But we'll speak to Andrew very shortly. But Celtic Livingston, you alluded to it earlier there, Tam. It was one of those games, Hugh, I was watching and I'm thinking to myself, okay, where's plan B? And plan B never materialised. And the one thing I would say about that game, from a manager's point of view, sometimes you let players sort it out. But I think he's open to criticism on the basis, if Juranovic scores penalties, and he scored them previously, Juranovic takes the penalty kicks. Tell Giamakis to go and take a running jump.
Yeah, but apparently it was all sorted out beforehand. He was going to take the penalties. I agree with you. I think the guy should be on the penalties till he misses, you know, because it's a momentum thing. Yeah. It's a confidence thing. I think one of the stats I read at the weekend was that in the 2 games against Livingston, Celtic have had 81 crosses, no goals. Yes. No goals. And that's in 180 minutes. We've been talking recently about this being a tighter title race than before. That's 5 points dropped to a team that will be fighting relegation at the end of the season. Yeah,
and they didn't have a plan B, Hugh, because they, you know, when you get to a situation where you've mentioned there 81 crosses, the crosses kept coming in. I thought it was food and drink to the way Livingston had set themselves up. Well, so you must have players who are able to, first of all, beat a man and go 2-on-1 then.
Well, most managers will see when they're setting up defensively, most managers will leave the wings alone. We'll defend the balls coming in. You know, because we can't really defend guys getting the ball out wide, but we'll defend the cross. That'll be our shape. That'll be our tactics to defend the cross. Now, we've worked on that all week, you know, defending crosses. I think the plan B, and I listened to Angie after the game, and the plan B is almost that Mark Warburton thing. Plan B is do plan A better, you know. It's not like, well, let's... Yeah. And that is something, he has to get that in his armoury, that, you know, sometimes it's all right to say, we're going to win this game, not by playing the pure football philosophy that I've been brought up with, but to win a league, sometimes you've just got to, he could have got out of jail with the penalty, yes, but sometimes you've got to say, do you know what, we just have to be kind of crude and rudimentary here, you know?
Well, I was gobsmacked they got the penalty, I have to be honest with you, in the first place, the nature of it, but they did get the penalty, and as far as the penalty kick taker, the manager takes responsibility.
So it was my decision. He was the designated penalty taker. Obviously, the other day he wasn't on the field when Juranovic took it, but that was my decision to put him as a penalty taker. Yeah. I'd be disappointed, but that's the role of a striker. Strikers get the limelight when they score goals, and if they don't, they've got to dust themselves off and come up again. I'm sure he will. I'm sure he understands that. He'll be fine.
It was a big call, Ruffy, and as soon as Giacomakis took 2 steps back, I thought, unless your name's Socrates, take 10 steps back.
Just hit it, put your foot through it. That's the pace of the ball would beat anybody. But if the goalkeeper guesses the right way, he's just going to fall on top of that. You're taking a gamble, thinking the goalkeeper's going to go the other way. But I think sometimes managers think too hard about the game. And if you're a manager, a Celtic manager, you're sitting there going, who's been my best player this year? Kyogo. I'll just leave him on the bench. Why do you make these decisions? I just don't understand that at all. He's the guy who's caused every team in the league problems, whether he scored or no scored, and you decide to leave him on the bench.
Especially when, all due respect, the European campaign wasn't that important anyway, and it's something more or less below the waterline anyway, and fair and Faris, you talk to any Celtic fan, fair and Faris away, you're not resting players for that. You honestly aren't. Whereas if you win on Saturday, you go in, Rangers wake up on a Sunday morning, 1 point behind, on the back of some less than commanding results, they go 1-0 down at Fir Park. These things have consequences, these decisions.
And the thing about it, maybe this is just me, I don't know like you would be as a manager. If I'm a manager, play all your best players in the first half. Win the game, and then take the players off that you want to rest.
Yeah.
That would be my theory.
Well, you're not going to get any argument out of me on this one. I know, when Steven Gerrard has his best players available, they'll be on the park. Now, it's a draw. It's a disappointment they've lost 2 points on it, but they've also lost Starfelt. He could be out for 2 weeks as well, Tam.
Yeah, I think that will be a blow. I think they were starting to get a bit of continuity back there with him and Carter Vickers. I thought the two of them were excellent against Hibs the other week there, so they were starting to keep clean sheets and get a wee bit of a partnership, so that's a blow because Starfelt was starting to come onto a game, I felt, after getting quite a lot of criticism. So that'll be a blow. I think young Welsh will probably come in.
What about Scales? Would you go with Welsh?
By all accounts, Scales is doing well at Celtic, but I don't know if he'll play him again in a European game. I think he'll maybe go with the boy Welsh. He's obviously European experience, but in terms of Celtic, and you're talking about the penalty kick, it's as a player, it's impossible to get power on it when you take 2 or 3 steps. I've tried it.
Yeah.
I've tried it at Ibrox and missed it. You need to take a run up to get the power, because I was looking at him taking that penalty and I'm going, he's going to have to put this right in the corner to score. Yes. If the goalkeeper goes the right way here, he's not going to get enough power on it to score. So you've got to be very, very precise, and I don't think he'll be taking any penalties soon, because that could be pretty costly for Celtic.
Yeah, in the end they missed the penalty. As far as the whole 90 minutes, I think Celtic's possession at one point was like 85%. I mean, it was crazy. But David Martindale was heaping the praise on his side, because apparently the game plan was exactly how it panned out for him.
I just think our game plan changes how we normally play on a week-to-week basis. Come away to Rangers, come away to Celtic, the bigger clubs, maybe even throw in Hearts, Hibs, Aberdeens now into that equation. You've got to change your game plan. I don't think you can be as open, as expansive as you normally are. So, again, don't really want to say too much about how we went about our business today. But it worked to a T. And that was... I think the boys have got to take massive credit. The staff as well.
Yeah, full marks to Livingston, because at the end of the day, the disparity is there in the spending power, and David Martindale's job is to say, I'm in the ring with a far better opponent, they can punch me non-stop, but just let's make sure we don't get knocked out.
Absolutely. That's his job, is to get points for Livingston to keep Livingston in a division which is much more lucrative than going down to the Championship. That's his job. I mean, they can talk about good cup runs and all that. That's his priority this season, is to keep an a point at Celtic Park. The only way he's going to get a point at Celtic Park is to set his team up like that. So, no complaints whatsoever.
Yeah, and Celtic away to Ferencvaros. They're third in the group at the moment, Ruffy. They're behind Real Betis and Leverkusen. Is it a forlorn hope? Is it just a case of just try and save a bit of face, see if they can get something out there or make it interesting, or is there more to hope for?
No, I don't think that team were particularly hot. You know, I think Celtic would fancy to go there, and if they got a wee break, they might win it. And then you go back to the home game against Real Betis, and we saw that game. It looked exciting, but they look as if they get good players. But I think that they have to keep hanging on to getting something out of this game to get the home game and see where it goes for there.
Yeah, okay. We're going to talk about Hibs and that postponed match in a moment, but as far as the result again, and we talk about momentum every week on this show, Aberdeen 2, Hearts 1 was the scoreline. I mean, there was a great goal, and I thought Ramirez hit an absolute raker of a goal for the Dons, and they popped up with the winner through Lewis Ferguson. So let's get the thoughts of our man in the northeast, Andrew. This is now becoming a regular occurrence. You with a smile on your face, Aberdeen with a victory.
A bit early to be saying that, Peter, but delighted that they got the 3 points. It's baby steps, but it's steps in the right direction.
What did you think of the performance, Andrew, of Aberdeen?
I thought first half, both sides just cancelled each other out. With Scott Brown in central defence, he wasn't able to influence the game as much as he did second half. And I think it was the change that was made at half-time, pushing Brown further forward into midfield, freeing Lewis Ferguson to have more of an effect on the game. And Aberdeen ran out deserved winners because they blew Hearts off the park second half.
Yeah, I mean, is that the key for you? I mean, we've been talking about Scott Brown and how, he's a winner, he'll want to drive the other players on. Suddenly he's hit that bad run. What's the Aberdeen fans feeling towards him and how he's playing in the middle of the park for them?
They absolutely love him. They can see there's a winner there. He's lifted the standards around the whole team. He's playing with a smile in his face, which is great when you consider the pressure that the players have been under over the last 2 months or so. But no, he has played the part of leader to a T over this last week. And but for one absolutely dreadful refereeing decision, it would have been 9 points out of 9.
Yeah, as far as Stephen Glass is concerned, he's well happy with the way the Dons fought back in this one.
It was a good week's work. 3 teams at the top end of the league. We were told before the week how we were playing against 3 of the top teams, so we were reminded of it plenty. But I think the ability of the players, the quality they've shown, and the mental toughness, I think, with the pressure that was on them, I suppose, to come through that. I'm delighted for them.
Sandra, to see Stephen Glass looking far more relaxed at times. I thought in that dismal period he was like a rabbit caught in the headlights, wondering how he was going to solve this conundrum, but he seems to have solved it. You mentioned Scott Brown in the middle of the park, but what about Ramirez? I mean, the strike from him was top drawer.
You're thinking maybe the Hibs game. It was actually Marley Watkins that pinged that one in the top corner on Saturday.
Oh, my apologies. I thought it was Ramirez. I watched Watkins. Yeah, it was my apologies. I thought it was Ramirez.
And the return of Marley Watkins has been brilliant for Aberdeen because it's taken a bit of the pressure off Ramirez up front. I don't think he plays that well as a sole front man, but give him a chance in front of goal, Ramirez will stick it in the back of the net, as you can see from his goal return so far. But it's been a happy accident, really, for Aberdeen that all the injuries and all the other bits and pieces round about the team selection have dictated what the team has to be. And, although the 2 young fullbacks, Calvin Ramsey and Jack McKenzie, got deserved praise early in the season, and they'll come back better players, having seen what the team has been doing. I think, having experience in the wing-back positions has made a big difference for Aberdeen. They look a much tighter defensive unit.
Yeah, and of course Hearts, difficult for them as well. We've talked about Hibs and Hearts and how they've had a real chance to push up